Welcome to Business Agility Now, the podcast powered by Scaled Agile. I'm your host, Adam Mattis. This is the place to get advice, stories, and perspectives to help you work differently and build the future. Thanks for listening and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. All right, welcome back to another episode of Business Agility Now, sponsored by Scaled Agile. I'm sitting here with Benji from Atlassian, and Benji, we just went over an exercise where I tried to pronounce your last name, and I did a good job, but I've already lost confidence.
It's Perlzweig, and you did a really good job, so no reason to lose confidence.
I appreciate it. So Benji, you have been with Atlassian for how long?
It's been 15 months now, so not too long.
That's good. So what's your story? I mean, how did you find your way to Atlassian? How did you find your way into this crazy software space that we all know and love?
Thank you very much for asking. So first of all, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoy being here. I think the red line throughout my history of the last several years or many years in professional life is partnerships. Partnerships make a lot of sense to me in, frankly, my private life, but also in business. I feel that if two different parties come together and align on goals, then there is so many things and wonderful things that you can do. To me, there's like conflict, peace, and then there's partnership. So I'm trying to operate in the Formula One of collaboration, if you want.
Yeah, I love that you said that, and I'll tell you why. So I also, in my role, obviously value partnerships a lot. And I think the way that I found myself into this position of valuing partnerships, it started when I was pretty young, and I raced dirt bikes.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
Every kid who races a dirt bike or a motocross bike or rides or a BMX bike or rides a skateboard, the minute they can do anything, they have to get sponsors.
Yeah.
And so like every kid, I was out trying to get sponsors. And I learned a lesson from somebody who took the time to talk to me that had no business talking to me. And he said to me, Adam, you sound like a complete entitled little jerk every time you come around and you ask for sponsorship. You need to understand that for anyone to give you anything in this space, you need to return that 10x.
Yeah.
So it's not a sponsorship, it's a partnership, and you need to give a lot more than you get. I don't know, I think I was maybe 12. And I carried that forward.
It's a good lesson for that age.
Yeah, it's a great lesson. And so later in my career, I oversaw strategic partnerships at Under Armour, and you can imagine at an athletic company, there's so many people asking for sponsorships.
Yep.
And we actually, part of the portfolio that I oversaw was our action sports division.
Okay.
And there, more than anything, I got to teach a lot of kids that, hey, it's not sponsorship, it's partnership.
Yeah.
And let's talk about what you're going to give and how you're going to give me the confidence that you're going to return 3x, 10x, 100x my investment. And, you know, it's a little bit different now in the space that we're in because it's less about, you know, hey, I buy my Atlassian partnership, I expect, you know, 100x return, though in some cases that makes sense. But it's more about working together, learning together, growing together, taking that mutual feedback, and providing better solutions to the industry. So I love that you're a partnerships guy. I agree. It's a very special space in business.
I believe so, and I fully agree. And it gives me a lot of purpose. And maybe that's kind of like I'll pivot into how I got here. So I think, by now, many years from ago, I started working for eBay. And at eBay, we were looking at different revenue streams from different countries. And the best way you can do this is through partnerships. So you had to work with a lot of local entities, small and big, and collaborate and generate revenue streams and make sure everybody got their targets fulfilled. And that was really interesting experience. I did this across EMEA. After that, I joined Accenture, actually. Accenture, I was there for a little more than 5 years. I was an innovation lead. But in my last iteration at Accenture, I actually built the so-called AABG, the AWS Accenture Business Group. So those were huge two giants that are coming together, trying to align and see whether there is an overlap in their purpose, in their goals, and their targets. And of course there was. And but building that and bringing together two very, very different cultures was hugely interesting. It was very successful. And after Accenture actually went over to AWS, having had the chance to get AWS as well, get to know them as well as you can from the outside, I joined them. I was there for 3 years and also built a partnership with Cognizant in that case across all of EMEA. And one of my specializations at the time and to this day, it is my passion, is anything related to data, analytics, big data, artificial intelligence and GenAI. So I've been selling that stuff before it was cool.
It's so interesting how so many paths are similar, right? Because I know your colleague Alexis, she's got, a similar story.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually did 2 tours of duty at Accenture.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously building and selling the partnerships that I now oversee at Scaled Agile.
Yes.
So I kind of, the path is similar.
Very.
And then I found myself here overseeing partnerships for the other way.
Yeah.
And it's definitely cool. I think it's funny how a lot of people who come from the big consulting firms end up having very parallel career paths.
I think partnerships comes with a certain mindset. And I think a certain mindset you have all of your life. And that kind of takes you through different stations in life, I guess. So maybe that's a way to make sense of it.
Maybe there's something to do with it there. How about it?
Absolutely. And currently I'm taking care of the partnership with Accenture for Atlassian. And I was so glad when I joined Atlassian about 15 months ago that they came to me saying, hey, Benjamin, we have a huge emphasis on GenAI, data, analytics, insights, helping our customers become data and insights driven companies is very, very important to us. I felt so much at home. So it was really wonderful. And lastly, maybe Atlassian, out of all the companies, is ultimately a company that enables collaboration and partnership. And if partnerships make as much sense to you as it does to me, what better place to work at?
It's not a bad place.
It's not a bad place at all.
So talk to me a bit about, the focus on GenAI, because I think yesterday I made a comparison to, are you a South Park fan?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do you remember the episode with the underpants gnomes?
Ooh, I don't.
Okay, so that one, I think it's a perfect metaphor for most businesses.
Okay.
And it was this episode where there was these gnomes that came into the boys' rooms at night and they were stealing their underpants and they were getting in trouble because what's happening to all the underpants? I just bought you new ones and they're already gone. And so they got mad one night. They wanted to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And then they followed these gnomes back to their, gnome cave. And they said, hey, why are you stealing everyone's underpants? And they said, big profit in underpants. And they said, how? So they put up this, for me, it's just like the best thing ever. They put up this poster board of their business model.
Yeah.
It was step 1, steal underpants. Step 2, step 3, profit. And I feel like that's everybody's business model right now with Gen AI. Like we know we need to Gen AI. We need AI is important, big profits.
Yep.
But that whole middle component is just like the gnomes. It's missing. We don't know how to transition from or translate from Gen AI, new wave of the world. Something happens and then profit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Gen AI has been around much longer than its popularity, right?
Oh, shoot. I mean, we've been through how many iterations of the AI pop and AI winner since like the 1950s?
Absolutely. So it's been around for such a long time, but what changed is that it became much more accessible and much more user-friendly and much more user case-friendly than before. And that really made it explode in popularity, made it explode into the marketplace. And there was a lot of excitement, and whenever there's something new, everybody jumps on it, and everybody all of a sudden has 10 years experience in it, and everybody just wants to have it in their organization. And if you're a CIO or a VP and you work with AI, hey, you're the cool guy. What I'm looking for, and I've always been looking for, is the return on invest in everything. And the return on invest in everything can often or most often be quantified. And all the cases that we're exercising with our customers, all the pilots, all the scaled implementations, we're always looking for quantified return on investment. And I think that's really, really important. Otherwise, you're just going to have another meta moment where everything needs to be in the metaverse. Nobody knows why. And ultimately,
it's nothing.
It's not happening. I mean, a whole company changed its name because of the trend and the hype around meta. And we know where we are today.
You just want to kind of ask them, and how's that working out for you? I mean, did you know Steve Davis during your time at Accenture?
I think I do. The name rings a bell.
So that's a famous Steveism, is every time he has a profound discovery, he just looks at the client straight in the eye and says, and how's that working for you? And he's got this very natural way about him that it's inoffensive. I think if I said it, it would come across horrible, but Steve's good at it. But
so that's really what we're looking for. We want to have a multifold, multiplier of return on investment when it comes to Gen AI. we've recently announced at Team 25 that Rovo is going to be available to anyone at no cost. And of course
And I'm sorry, that's the native Atlassian GenAI agent?
Rovo is the native Atlassian GenAI agent. You're absolutely right. And for everybody who's in the cloud and who's in Premium or Enterprise, we're going to switch it on free of charge. And that is very, very important to us because we believe in the value of GenAI so much that we want our customers to have it. And therefore, we are switching it on for everybody who wants it and who's in the cloud.
It's so funny you say that. We actually did the exact same thing about a week ago with our AI agent. And I think what's interesting, I'm sure about yours and is about ours as well, is from an ROI perspective, we have access to a lot of information about how your organization works.
Yeah.
And when we can provide insight back and direct answers to your questions based on, and just to be clear, like all of your company information segregated, we're not blending data.
Yeah.
But you can ask cool questions about how safe works in your organization and get context specific answers. And, we spent a lot of money developing that, but then at some point you look at it and say, well, there's what's right and there's what's profitable. And sometimes what's right trumps what's profitable. And the better you help enable people to do good things, then the ROI comes later from our perspective, right? And I'm sure when I think about all of the data that you all have, it's much more robust than what we have. I mean, because, you think about the connectors to repositories and the work management systems and everything else. I mean, you can tell a company a lot of cool things about that company.
Absolutely. And there's probably 3 different value buckets when it comes to Rovo, our GenAI product. Number 1 is search, of course. You will search and understand every content in every corner of your organization, whether it's in the cloud, but we can also connect to DC or on-prem resources as well, no matter what format. And that's extremely valuable. We feel that it really reduces the time of undifferentiated heavy lifting, as we used to call it at AWS, where developers are not developing. They're doing research, they're copying and pasting, they're doing admin stuff, but they're not actually being productive. So it vastly increases the productivity of those workers. And then you have the second kind of category of functionality and value, and that is conversation, interacting conversationally with this content. And that's kind of the chatbot, but it's a superficial way of calling. And then thirdly, it's something that we've announced we call Studio, which is basically the ability to create agents that do very simple tasks for you or very, very complicated and deeply integrated tasks. You can ask Rovo to create a report on missed deadlines every morning for you, including causes and analysis as to why this happened. But you can also do much more complicated stuff where you can just tell Rovo, I want to create an app and that does ABC, and then it'll create the epic, it'll create the issues, it understands the dependencies, it allocates resources and sticks it straight into Jira without you having done anything. So
it's crazy.
Deeply integrated.
You just said something that sparked, I guess, some sadness in me, right?
Uh-huh.
So when the ability to create those reports, it would have saved a business unit in a company that I used to love.
Yeah.
My first gig out of the military was I worked at VeriSign. And at that point in time, Stratton Sklavos had this vision of a wholly integrated telecom, I guess, network.
Yeah.
And our component was wireless billing. So our company was, it was purchased by VeriSign. It was called HO Systems. It was the billing and OSS platform for wireless providers. So if you go into a store and you buy a cell phone, it did, the account creation, the provisioning, all of that to get your phone working. And after the purchase, it was all written in COBOL. It was old school.
Yeah.
And VeriSign said, all right, now you've got 2 years or 3 years or whatever it was to convert this to a modern web-based application.
Yes.
And what ultimately killed it was our inability to duplicate the reports.
I see.
And I think we spent the better part of a year just on reporting, trying to unwind the custom hard-coded reports from the COBOL system and recreate them in a more repeatable way. And ultimately, we couldn't do it. And it's crazy to think back now, knowing what I know and the technologies that we have, that entire thing that was such a pain point could have been done, I mean, not counting your solution, in weeks versus years. It would have been much easier to reverse engineer, but it sounds like, I mean, like with what you've built, if you're doing all the work in the system, I mean, shoot, you just say, hey, create this thing for me, and bing, bang, boom, you're done.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to, make possible what wasn't possible at the time. And I think it's going to help a lot of companies not only survive, but thrive.
It's fantastic. So you mentioned Team 25.
Yeah.
I had a team that went and is so excited. They came back so excited. I got a bunch of selfies from the Atlassian Williamson racing car, which I gotta say, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up.
Please do.
I'm a huge racing guy. I mean, like I said, I grew up racing. I had a son recently. He's a whopping 8 weeks old tomorrow, but I've already purchased his cart. I thought I was going to have him race motocross, but the minute I held him in my arms, I said, yeah, we're not doing that. So I went out. I've already bought him his first cart, and we'll go down that racing path. But I think it's so cool that Atlassian jumped into the F1 space. And I think we were talking beforehand, and it sounds like it's already making quite a splash.
It's making a big splash, and we're getting different types of value out of the sponsorship. Of course, there's the excitement. To me, that makes so much sense, because whenever I go to an event like SAFE, like our team's event, I see a hugely passionate community. And I think that keeps it all together and frankly gives us license to exist and thrive. There's so much passion out in the community, and working with an organization that, again, sparks so much passion and compassion across so many hundreds of millions of people, that to me makes all the sense in the world. And then, of course, you have the high performance aspect, where we feel that we're bringing out the best in teams, and Formula One needs to do the same to be successful. And I think there's so much overlap in the way we understand ourselves. And then, of course, you have all the great branding opportunities. You have all the events where we can bring our customers, and we've already started doing that in Australia, for example. And we're hugely excited about it. But there was so much more that was announced at Teams, right?
Yeah, so I want to get to that, but I want to mention too, I think one of the things that I appreciate most about the F1 metaphor, and I've used this for a long time, is that you have to architect for the outcomes that you want, right?
Yes.
F1's one of those places where you can't just say, we want to go faster, so work harder, which is, I think, what a lot of organizations do, right? I mean, we've all been in this space for a long time. The management paradigm is we need more, go do more. But we often neglect to invest in the things that will allow us to go faster. And I think, again, F1's a perfect metaphor, because, in a lot of those races, the ability to pit stop and the ability to make changes quickly is the difference between winning and losing. So if you don't build that car with the intent of getting through pits fast and the ability to make changes fast, it doesn't matter how good your driver is. It doesn't matter how well you've built the frame or the engine or major configuration. You're going to be hampered by that architectural linchpin. And I think for a lot of companies, I mean, for the digital transformation work we've all done for so long, architecture's it. I mean, you look at it, you want to go fast, you're limited by this rat's nest that is your architecture. So I love the F1 metaphor, because it's so powerful in saying, if you want to go fast, you have to engineer your stack for speed.
You have to engineer your stack for speed, absolutely. And you have to engineer it for flexibility as well, right? What we do is we provide so much information and data and analytics about a company, because everybody who's working in Jira and Confluence, they're providing all this information, all this data. If we turn this into insights, into actionable, pragmatic insights, that enables a company to not only go fast because they go efficient and they have the right resources in the right place doing the right things, but also it helps them pivot much more quickly in their strategy. And, there used to be this paradigm of strategy is, long-winded, slow, and tactics is kind of like on the quick, changes on the quick. These days, you have to be able to pivot and adapt your strategy fast. And that is also something that you need to do in Formula One, right? You can do all the planning that you want, but all of a sudden it starts raining. Nobody knew it. What do? You can't do with your old strategic setup. You need to change your tires. You need to change the way you engage with your competitors. You need to change all of that. So strategy, if enabled by actionable insights and the full information that you can have, is fast. And that's what you need to be today.
That's fantastic. So you brought up teams. I know that my team came back from team. My team came back from team. Very excited.
Yeah.
From your perspective, what were the things that they should have come back and told me?
Okay, so I think we did have some product announcements, but to me, what's much, much more important is that we are fundamentally changing the way we understand ourselves and how we understand ourselves helping our customers. So we no longer feel that we're a software company that sells, software via licenses, but rather, our products, we see them more as apps. And I think the comparison or the word is fitting because, for example, if you look at your phone and, you look at a picture and you like a picture, you want to share it and you hit share and all of a sudden you're in WhatsApp or you're in your email account. So you have the different apps talking to each other. But really, rather, the paradigm of, having products, we are moving on to something we call collections. Collections is basically a curated combination of different apps that we have. And we've launched 2 collections at Teams. One is the Teamwork Collection, and that consists of Jira, Confluence, Rovo, and Loom. And this is really just to enable teamwork. And we feel that these different apps, they are the ones that are talking to each other. Most often, they are the ones that provide the functionality that you need as to enable teamwork. And then we have the Strategy Collection as well, which we also launched. And that consists of Focus, where you can define and map and track your strategic priorities. We have Talent, where you can plan and design your workforce and dedicate it and allocate it. And then we have Align, formerly called Jira Align, where you plan, where you develop your planning strategy based on strategic priorities and you track the goals and OKRs. So really, we are launching this curated collection. And if that in itself is a big announcement, but I think we believe in the pivot to collections so much that we're putting a lot of money behind it as well. We're investing heavily. And just as an example, if you would buy these different apps separately, for example, in Teamwork Collection, if you were to buy Jira, Confluence, Rovo, and Loom separately, you would pay one price. But if you buy the Teamwork Collection, there are savings to be made between 20 and 40%, just in terms of the cost that you have as a company. This is how much we believe this is the right way forward. And this is how much we believe that we can help our customers much better going forward.
It's so interesting. So I heard a few things here. Modularity is one big theme that I heard. And I think that's something that, we've also discussed it. It's Safe Summit in Sorrento that recently took place. And it's around the ability to pick, choose, and configure based on your unique context and circumstances, and understanding that your context and circumstances will change over time. Right?
Yep.
There's no one size fits all for everyone. We need to adapt based on the changing world and landscape. And the second, what you described as the collections and the purchasing model actually reminds me a lot of what Adobe has done with their, I think it's called Creative Cloud. It is Creative Cloud. I buy the darn thing.
It is.
But so you pay the one price, and it's a significantly lower price than you would pay for any single application.
Correct.
But then you have the ability to use any of the applications as your, in that case, I guess, creative skills adapt.
Yeah.
So I think it's very cool. I think it's a good way to make it easier for organizations to evolve. I think in the subscription model, where you buy a seat license to a specific product, there's a reluctance to then change, because then you have to buy more seat licenses, and then there's the conversion, and it's difficult. And I think, speaking back to architecture, that's why a lot of organizations get in an architectural landscape that's undesirable.
Yes.
Because there's this is the way we've always done it, or we're so integrated in this that it's hard to go to that, and then the cost. I think the model that you've described makes it easier for organizations to help themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We fully agree. And just to kind of round up what was announced at Teams is, of course, a larger announcement around Rovo. So Rovo, our GenAI and artificial intelligence offering, we believe in it so much, and we believe that customers should pivot towards becoming an information and insights-driven company and organizations. We want to make sure that Rovo is for everyone. And as long as you're in the cloud and you have the enterprise or premium level, we're going to switch on Rovo for you free of charge. And that is enormous. That is huge. Of course, only if you want. But we believe in this product so much, and we believe our customers need to have it to become more efficient, to stay competitive in the marketplace. We feel that everybody should have it. So again, we're switching on Rovo for everybody who's in the cloud, who has enterprise and premium. And actually, several months later, we are rolling it out to everybody, not only enterprise and premium. And I think that's also, yes, it is our belief that this is how customers should be enabled. But it actually is a profound change in how artificial intelligence and GenAI gets taken to market. Frankly, there's no other company today who's doing this completely free of charge in the enterprise and in the business to business sphere. And I think it's truly revolutionary, and it's us following up and putting money behind our belief.
I feel like that's been part of the Atlassian DNA for a long time too. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the front door to Atlassian for small businesses is still no charge. I mean, if you wanted to go set up, your basic teamwork structure, your team work management structure for a startup, you just jump in and go.
Yeah, absolutely. We believe it's the fundamental way, we call it system of work. It's the fundamental way that customers should work. And it's a fundamental approach of us helping our customers. And we feel that everybody should have it. And we are truly, truly convinced that this is the best way forward for our customers. And this is, by the way, in talking to our customers, this is not us kind of making decisions in some vacuum. We talk to our customers every day, including our largest corporations and the smallest. And we listen keenly to what they need and what they want and what it takes for them to pivot into the future, stay successful or become successful. So this is what we've learned. This is what we found out. And we're willing to put a lot behind it to make sure we're there for our customers at all times.
That's fantastic. So are there any other takeaways from Team 25 that you kind of want to share, or is that the bulk of it?
That is, I think, the most important part of it. We did have some product announcements, and I invite everybody to, look at the video on demands and listen to the streams and watch the videos. To me, this is the most important announcement. I mean, one thing that I want to say once again is it was just wonderful to see all this passion and this community come together in the form of our customers, in the form of practitioners. And I think together we're just going to go forward and do more wonderful, amazing things. And one thing that I kind of want to teaser here is that, we did a team event in Europe as well. It was in Barcelona. And having done it and having been there and looking at all the results that we've generated, we feel it's been very, very successful. So we have something else to look forward to.
That's fantastic. Well, Benji, I really appreciate you taking the time. What I would like to leave people with is, and we'll link everything that you mentioned in the show notes, there was a lot of really good things that you mentioned. So from the perspective of an Atlassian customer, where can they go to learn more about some of these things that were released and the capabilities that they have? And if somebody's not yet an Atlassian customer, where can they go to learn more about the offerings and how to get involved?
Absolutely. So I think we have a fantastic partner network. I personally am building the partnership with Accenture, but we have a fantastic global partner base and a partner that fits for every purpose and every size of company. So talk to them. They're going to be fully enabled on this, number one. Number two, of course, we have our account executives that are in charge for the welfare and the positive experience of our customers. Please go talk to them. And for those people who are not yet customers, contact our account executives, contact our partners. We're going to push out so much content on this in the digital sphere. So it'll be very easy to find the right things and find the answers that you're looking for. And of course, contact information for everybody who wants to get in touch. So I think it's going to be part sales direct. It's going to be part channel. And then we're pushing so much content out in the digital sphere because we're just so excited about this. And we're attending more events where we are physically present, where customers can and people can just reach out to us as well. So I think there's ample opportunity to get in touch.
Sounds like the home base is Atlassian.com.
It is.
Perfect. Benji, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for making the time to hang out and talk. And I would love to do this again in the future. And let's pick a topic area and go deep.
Let's please do. Please do, Adam. It's been a real pleasure. And look forward to talking next. Take care.
Right. Cheers, my friend.
Thank you so much.
While I'm sitting in the studio today, I thought I'd take a minute to talk to you about Safe Studio, a game-changing platform for learning and practicing safe, no matter where you are in your safe journey. Picture this, your team streamlined like never before with common self-paced learning and the right assets at the right time, all at their fingertips. Safe Studio isn't just a tool, it's a breakthrough in aligning your team's effort with your big picture goals. And we've all been there. You go to a training class and you leave with all this energy and great ideas, but you get back to your desk on Monday and you're a little bit lost about how to apply all of that great content to your context. Well, Safe Studio helps you avoid that ambiguity by providing clarity, efficiency, and most importantly, resources to help you hit the ground running in your new way of working. But Safe Studio doesn't stop there. You'll also find tools to connect to the greater Scaled Agile community. Simplified course management in the virtual classroom, access to all of our platforms like piplanning.io, Comparative Agility, and others. You'll find templates to facilitate product development activities and safe events, along with toolkits, video tutorials, and good gracious, so much more. Check out Safe Studio today and see for yourself at safe.scaledagile.com. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like what you hear, please refer us to your friends and colleagues and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Adam Mattis. See you next time.